This is David with The Verge, and this is the Razer Edge. The Edge, or some form of it anyway, has actually been around for a while. It came out last year at CES as Project Fiona, a hybrid tablet/controller/video game console. Over the next year, Razer refined the look, made the whole thing modular, and then re-released it at CES 2013 as the Edge. So there are three parts to the Razer Edge, really. The first is the tablet itself. It's a fairly normal-looking Windows 8 tablet, an all-black rectangle with tapered plastic edges and a matte back. The biggest difference, the thing that sets the Edge apart, is that it's huge. It's 0.8 of an inch thick, making it not only thicker than most tablets, but most recent laptops as well. It also weighs 2.1 pounds. It's pretty well made, really solid, and almost sleek if that's possible for a tablet this thick. On the front of it all, there's a 10.1-inch 1366 by 768 screen surrounded by a pretty gigantic black bezel. The screen itself is okay. It's a little low res for a device this expensive, but it's bright and has good viewing angles. The only part that's rough is the touchscreen. It's just kind of unresponsive, often scrolling awkwardly or taking 3 taps to do something, which really makes no sense on a device this powerful. There are a couple of reasons the Edge is so big, but mostly it's to make room for specs unlike anything we've seen in a tablet before. This is, Razer says, the only tablet with a discrete GPU inside, a separate graphics chip that is basically required for any kind of serious gaming. All that gets hot, which is why there are 2 gigantic fans on top of the Edge, and as I found, they're pretty necessary. Along with the tablet itself, there are 2 accessories that are more or less required to get the most out of the Edge. One is the $100 docking station, which adds 3 USB ports and an HDMI port to the Edge. So you can just drop the tablet in here, fire up Steam's big picture mode, and game right on your TV. It works really well, and since there's only one USB port on the Edge itself, you're going to want more inputs. The Edge is definitely powerful enough to be your only machine, but you'll need the peripherals to make it work. The other necessary accessory is the $250 Gamepad Controller, which adds the 2-handled controller to the tablet and turns it into the Project Fiona we saw a year ago. It adds a lot of weight to the Edge, but it also adds all the controls you'd need to play almost any game. You get 2 analog sticks and a D-pad, plus all the buttons and triggers you'd get on an Xbox or PlayStation controller as well. It also adds another battery into the Edge, which it turns out you kind of need. As a PC, the Edge is more or less what you'd expect. It's powerful enough to do anything you throw at it. It's spec'd like a high-end laptop, and it performs like one. Whether you're streaming high-def movies or using Photoshop or just browsing the web, it's plenty powerful. It works great with an external monitor through the HDMI port, or just by hooking up a keyboard and mouse via USB or Bluetooth. But let's be honest, this isn't a tablet that also happens to play games. It's a gaming tablet. And I'm sort of surprised to say this, but it's a really good one. I played high-end games on really high settings, and the Edge handles it all really well. There are basically 3 ways to play. One is with the controller on your lap, which is kind of like having the most awesome iPad gaming experience ever. You can also hook it up to a TV and play games with a mouse and keyboard or a controller, or just play on the tablet itself. The first 2 are really the best way to play. It works on a TV just like a dedicated console or gaming PC would, and playing with the controller is a lot of fun. Just using the Edge itself isn't quite as good. The screen isn't great, not a lot of games are optimized for touch, and 10.1 inches is pretty small for a big game anyway. I played all sorts of games on the Edge, and everything I tried was playable. Not perfect. When I cranked up detail in Crysis 3, the frame rate definitely dipped enough that I could tell it was stuttering, but that's an incredibly intense game, and it was still playable. Slightly less intense games like Borderlands 2 worked really well, and relatively simple ones like NBA 2K13 were perfect. Things did get worse when I was playing in 1080p on a TV rather than on the lower res screen on the Edge, but most games were still totally playable. I never found a game I just couldn't play on the Edge, which is kind of a remarkable feat for any tablet, no matter how big. The performance here is definitely a full level below a true dedicated gaming desktop, or even a device like Razer's Blade laptop, but it's way beyond what any other device this size is capable of. It does get pretty hot and really loud when you're playing games, but neither is surprising for a gaming laptop or really a problem. The tablet itself only gets about an hour of battery life when you're really gaming intensively, and with the controller's extra battery only gets about 2. But honestly, this thing is so big and so heavy that you're not going to use it in public much anyway. Here's the thing, I don't quite know how to feel about the Razer Edge. It's much more powerful than any tablet on the market, and if you're in the market for a gaming tablet, it's really the only option. But if you're just a person who wants a computer, the Edge costs $1,000 for the lowest spec model, and by the time you've purchased the accessories and maybe upgraded to the more powerful Edge Pro, you're looking at $1,500 for a gaming machine. The Edge's performance is great without being remarkable, and if you're spending this much money on a gaming laptop, you can probably do better for your money. But if you want a 2-pound gaming PC with a pretty cool controller and you can afford it, you really won't be sorry you bought the Edge.